Well, hey there and howdy everybody. It's your buddy Clem Pickens, and I was just sitting here thinking about them testimony services. You know, back when people used to do Sunday night church, there's a lot of churches ain't doing it no more, and that's all right, I reckon, but I kind of like them testimony services. You know, we'd get up and we'd sing a little bit or a lot, and then the preacher might get up and say a few words about how the good Lord's been good to him and his family and our church and how we ought to be thankful. And that was great. But then he'd say them words that I hated. He said, "Are all hearts and minds clear?" That preacher knew doggone well that all hearts and minds were not clear, and we was about to be late for the Sunday night Shoney's buffet. Sure enough, Deacon Davis would get up and he'd start things off by talking about how he was thankful for his wife and his children, his house, and his job and whatnot. And he'd always end it by saying he just wanted to give all glory and honor to the good Lord above. And there was the first domino to fall. And then 4 or 5 other saints of the church would get up and they'd say things kind of in the same light. And then it was Sister Mary's turn. But Sister Mary didn't testify like everybody else. No. Sister Mary would jump up and say, "Y'all pray for me. I've had the awfulest back pain. The devil's been on my back all week." I used to think Sister Mary didn't need prayer. Sister Mary needed a daggone chiropractor. She'd get up and she'd start talking about her back pains and her gout and her foot troubles and her arthritis and all that. But after she listed all of her ailments, you never knew what was about to come out of her mouth after that. Matter of fact, some nights, and these were the bad nights, she's saying, "I've had the awfulest gas I ever did have." And I never rightly understood it, but for some reason the preacher didn't want to call her to the front for prayer on them nights. But no, I was at one church. Preacher got up and was telling us about how we ought to confess our sins and how we ought to come clean about the things we done wrong against the good Lord. And this woman got up and she was thanking the Lord for helping her to stop cussing. And we all was happy about it because she kind of had a little bit of the potty mouth. And you know, she stood up right in front of God and everybody and she said, "I've only said 2 cuss words this week and I'm going to edit." She said, "I only said heck and dang." I nearly fell out of my pew. She said that right in the middle of the Lord's house. Tell you what, y'all be good. Bye now.